Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. I know you may not have seen me before. I've been on the videos. I also work at ARE. My name is Taylor. I'm one of the other educators here. Oh, there's Sabrina. I don't know where she is. Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina.
So today we're going to do our Jelly Belly Geology lesson. So let's test your guys' ability to use that reaction button. I want you to give me a thumbs up if you've done this lesson with us before. If you haven't, then just don't do anything. Thumbs up with the reactions button. So down at the bottom panel. So like I'm doing right here. Okay, so some of you guys have done this already, right? And if you haven't, that's okay. If you have, that's also okay. So we're gonna go through this activity today. I have a little PowerPoint I wanna share with you guys first to kind of intro this. If you guys have been with us the past 2 days, we've been focusing more on energy. We've been doing like oil and gas stuff. So we're kind of switching gears a little bit today. We're gonna jump into this kind of an intro activity for rock ID and minerals. So today we're gonna be doing Jelly Belly Geology, and we're gonna do a little bit of rock ID, and then tomorrow I think Nick is going to be doing Mine a Cookie with you guys. And I know a lot of you have done that one already, but that one's fun because you can eat stuff. You can eat stuff today too if you have jelly beans with you. All right, so.
Hey guys, just a quick reminder, tomorrow we're gonna need cookies and frosting. And if you have green sprinkles, that'd be great. They can be any color sprinkles really, but cookies, frosting, and sprinkles. Okay, so remind your parents.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you guys. You guys all see that? Just nod your heads or thumbs up. Okay, and we'll get started here. All right. So like I said, this is, even though this activity is called Jelly Belly Geology, it's really about classification, and then it's kind of a jumping off point to start talking about rocks and minerals and how we identify those different things, right? Because those are natural resources, just like energy is a natural resource. So I'm going to start off with a little activity. So I'm thinking of an animal that is brown, has fur, and has 4 legs. So I want you guys to guess which animal it is that I'm thinking about. So it's brown, it has fur, and it has 4 legs.
A bunny?
Bear. It's not a bear. What was the second one?
A bunny.
Not a bunny. Good guess.
A dog.
Not a dog.
A lion.
Not a lion. Not a moose. Not an otter.
Squirrel.
Not a squirrel.
Is it a
Caribou?
moose?
Not a caribou. Not a moose. Any other guesses?
Beaver.
It is. It's a beaver. Who said that?
Woo!
Who was that?
It was me.
Oh, Becky, you can't play.
Well, why not? I didn't know.
That's true. You didn't know. Okay, so it's a beaver, right? And beaver is not probably the first thing you think of when you are thinking of an animal that has brown fur and 4 legs. I thought of bear and moose first, but the point of this is to tell you guys that when we're trying to describe something, right, whether it be an animal or a rock or something in science, we need to be really specific about how we describe them, right? Because brown fur and 4 legs describes, as you guys just told me, a lot of different animals, right? So if I was a scientist and I was like, I was out in the field and I saw this really crazy animal, it was brown and it was furry and it had 4 legs, everyone would be like, what are you talking about? So you have to be really specific when you're classifying things, whether it's a living thing like an animal or a non-living thing, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys a chance. So I'm gonna have a couple people try this. So I want you to, without saying it, think of an animal and then think of 3 descriptive words or terms for it, like I just did with the beaver, right? You can write them down or you can just keep them in your head. So I'll give you like a minute or 2 to think of that. And then I want you to raise your, or you can wave at me, that reaction button if you can get to that. Or if not, you could just, if you can't see the reaction button right now, you could just tell me you would like to go when you're ready. And I'll let you share with everyone else your 3 descriptive words and see if we can guess your animal, kind of how we just did with mine.
Okay, we got ours.
Okay, go ahead, Susie.
It can be poisonous. It lives near ponds and it hops.
Frog.
Yeah.
Nice, good job. So if, I was tricky with mine, right? Because I was trying to make the point that we want to be descriptive. So now I'm hoping that you guys get the idea that if you only have 3, if you can only describe something in 3 words, you're going to want to be as descriptive as possible so that someone else could come along, read those 3 words and know what you're talking about, right? Nice job. All right, does anyone else want to share?
I have one.
Go ahead,
Me
Nick.
too.
Okay, it's a mammal. It lays eggs and it has webbed feet.
Platypus.
I know.
I heard it already.
Platypus, nice. Heard a couple people. Good job.
Okay, I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, it's squishy. It has 8 legs and it lives in the ocean.
Octopus.
I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Slimy, slow shell.
Snail. Snail.
Snail.
Nice, good job.
That's a good one.
No, Henry.
Glossy eyes, floppy ears, and can be kept as a house pet.
A dog.
Bunny.
Ooh.
No.
What is it?
Somebody said dog.
The dog.
Yeah.
What was the first descriptive word that you said, Henley?
Glossy eyes.
Glossy eyes and floppy ears and could be a house pet. So I guess technically bunny could work, right? 'Cause bunnies have floppy ears. Yeah. That's good though. All right. Anyone else want to share? Is that it? Okay, no worries. Good job, guys. All right, so hopefully this is getting you thinking about how we can describe things that we find out in nature in a scientific way so that anyone can come along and read your description and be able to classify that thing, right? So why is it important that in science that we do that? Why is it important that we have like a set of rules when we go about classifying or identifying things? What do you think?
So then you don't get confused with other things?
Yeah, right? Yeah, so you don't get confused with other things. Good. Anything else? Thoughts about that? About why it might be important to classify things in a very specific way?
So then maybe if you go looking for it, it's easier to find.
Yeah, exactly, right? So we don't want to reinvent the wheel every single time you go out looking for something, regardless of what it is, whether you're a biologist or a geologist, you study rocks, right? You want to be able to write down the things you observe in a way that anyone can come along, regardless of who it is, and they can read your description, your classification, and they can go find that thing using your set of descriptive terms, right? Otherwise, every single time you go out, you're kind of starting from scratch, and that's kind of a waste of time. So it is important that we have these tools for helping us describe and classify and identify things in science. So one tool that we can use to help us identify and classify things is called a dichotomous key. So if you guys have seen or done the Jellybeans geology activity before, you've already seen this. But let's break down this term dichotomous key. It's kind of a big word, but so key, what does that mean? Not like the door key, but what is key? Like an answer key.
And yeah, it's like an answer.
Right. It basically gives you answers, right? It's kind of in the name there. So dichotomous, does anyone know what that prefix, the DI, the die, how many, like what number that represents? Any ideas? So a triathlon, how many, what's tri? How many?
3.
Yeah, 3. So what's die?
Is it
4?
10?
Not 4,
Is it 10?
not 10. Any other guesses?
The 2?
Yeah, it's actually 2. Yep,
Yeah.
so di is like 2. So the word dichotomous actually means to divide into 2, okay? So a dichotomous key, basically it's a tool that scientists use to go about classifying something or finding a way to identify something by going down a list and saying, is it this or is it that? Is it this or is it that? Until you get to your final answer, right? Because splitting into 2 questions makes it very cut and dry, right? So, and I'll show you an example of this. We're gonna go through a couple examples. So this is a really simple one. This has to do with animals, right? Like we were just talking about. So you start with, okay, if you're looking at an animal here, does it have feathers? If it does, you go to yes, right? You go up to yes. Can you guys see my pointer?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, so it has feathers, yes. Does it swim? Yes, well then it's a duck. If it has feathers and it does not swim, then it's a hen, right? For these options, obviously there's other animals out there that fit those categories, but for this particular example. And then if it doesn't have feathers, you go down to no. And then the next question is, well, does it have legs? If it does have legs, it's a lizard. And if it does not have legs, it's a snake, okay? Does that make sense? So it's a way of basically going through it. Every node, you have two options. It's going to be basically a yes or no question, right? And it's going to lead you to the next branch of your dichotomous key. And you basically just keep following it across until you get to your answer. Okay, so that's an animal example. This one's a little bit more complicated, but it's the same idea, right? So the top thing is you start with vertebrae. Does anyone know what a vertebrae animal is?
It's a vertebrae. Is a animal with a spine, right?
Yeah, it's an animal with a spine. Very good. So you start with, okay, all animals that have spines. Does it have fur? Yes or no? If it does, then it's a mammal. And then you can go obviously way farther into which one it is. If it does not have fur, well, does it have feathers? If it does, then it's a bird, okay? If it does not, the next question is, does it have dry skin? If it does, it's a reptile. And then if not, you go down to this final one here. And the next question is, does it have scales? If it's yes, then it's a fish. If no, it's an amphibian, okay? So that's another example of how you can get to like these big classifications of animals, and then you could make it even more complicated, right? Because then if you had a bird and you're like, well, I want to know which bird, there's lots of dichotomous keys out there that can help you identify which bird. All right. So can we use dichotomous keys to help us identify the jelly beans today?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are going to, right? So I'm going to show you the worksheet. Some of you guys might have the worksheet in front of you, and if so, that's great. You can follow along. Awesome. And if you don't, then I'm going to pull it up on my screen so you can follow as I go along. So when we're talking about jelly beans, what are two things we cannot use to help us figure out which kind of jelly bean it is? Two things, two descriptive terms about the jelly beans that's not going to help us. There's two that like doesn't matter because they're the same.
The shape.
The shape and size, right? Because that's not helpful. They're all the same shape in this case, and they're all the same size, right? We can't use shape or size. What can we use?
Color.
Yep, we can use color. What else?
If it has spots or not.
Spots, yep. So if you're looking at that worksheet, you're probably seeing some of these words here.
Oh yeah.
Yep, and those are the two words we're going to go over. Those are probably some words, some of you guys are familiar with those terms, but we'll go over what that means here, okay? So opaque means you cannot see light through it, or light cannot go through it. Translucent is that you can see light through it, or that light can go through it. Does that make sense? Make sense to everybody?
Wait, he has to get it. So if it's opaque means like you can see light through it. Translucent means you can't.
Literally the other way around.
Yeah.
Opaque means you cannot see light through it.
Right. Yeah, good. Yeah. And I saw, Fritz, that you just held the jelly bean up to the window, and that's a great way to do it, right? So if you hold your jelly bean up to the light, you're going to be able to see, is there some light coming through it? Like, can you see that light coming through the jelly bean? If so, then it's translucent, right? If not, if no light's coming through, it's really dark. In other words, it's opaque. Light cannot go through it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Got it? All right, cool. So I'm going to stop sharing this really quick. So if you guys have the jelly beans, go ahead and get them out of the bag if you haven't done that already. And again, if you do not have our like Aries bag of jelly beans, but you have your own jelly beans, you can go ahead and follow along as I'm doing it on the screen here. And basically probably what you could do is whatever color jelly bean I'm choosing, you can find a jelly bean in your bag that is that color. And then use the dichotomous key that we have, go through it and see if you can find your flavor. Your flavor might not be on our key, and that's okay, but we'll test them and you guys can let us know what flavor you ended up with. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, and then if you don't have the jelly beans, that's okay. You could follow along with me too. Okay, so
Pay attention.
I'm gonna share my screen again here. All right, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
The key, okay. Everyone seeing that? Okay. All right, so this is why pinning my video is gonna become important. So if you didn't pin my video, go ahead and do that now because all of our pictures are now on the side, right? And if you didn't pin my video, it's gonna be harder to see me because I'm about to start holding up jelly beans to my screen. Okay, if not, that's okay. Just see if you can find me and look at my video as I hold up jelly beans. All right, so I'm going to pick a jelly bean out of my bag. I'm gonna hold it up to my camera. I'm gonna have you guys help me walk through this dichotomous key to see if we can figure out what jelly bean it is, okay? All right, so got a jelly bean out. I'm gonna hold it up to the camera here. Can you guys all see that?
Yes. Yes.
All right, so let's
It's like
start
pink.
with color. Yep, awesome, it's pink. That's pretty obvious, right? So I'm gonna scroll down so you guys can see. Hold on
Oh,
here.
it's in red, Fritz.
Oh yeah, so yep, we're gonna start with red. Good. All right, so we've got red, and I'm going to
This is
annotate really quick here so you guys can follow. So we're on red, right? Now, not red, but it's pink, right? So we're gonna
Yeah.
go, don't mind my messy lines, but we're gonna go to pink, okay? All right, now I'll turn it around a little bit. Does it have spots or does it not have spots?
It has no spots. Well, yours has spots.
Yeah, mine has spots. Yours might not. Okay, so if yours doesn't, then you can circle what you have. But mine has spots. Okay, so I'm gonna go this way along my key. I'm gonna circle spots because that's where I am.
Come on, do it.
Okay. Now I'm gonna hold up mine again. Does mine have red spots or colored spots?
Red spots.
Yep, just red. Does everyone see that? I know my fingers are kind of in the way there, but they're just red spots, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna follow my key to the red spots. Circle it there. All right, that means we've come to our final decision here, and we're at strawberry cheesecake. Okay, did someone else with a pink one, not from our ARE bag, come to a different answer?
I got bubble gum.
Got bubble gum, and then
Mine's a
Leanne?
different. Mine's
You guys
a.
get
I got bubble gum.
bubble gum?
You got bubble gum too. Yeah, my
Right.
sister got
Henley, what do you
There's
got?
no spots.
I don't have the same type as you, but I still got strawberry cheesecake.
All right, so anyone who has a pink one who came to an answer, go ahead and eat it and let me know if you think you're right.
Oh yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah,
it's
bubble gum.
Yeah. Good. You guys all got it right?
Mhm.
Yep, and mine's definitely strawberry cheesecake. All right,
Okay,
you guys ready for
Is it cinnamon?
What do I do?
Wait, is it cinnamon?
I'm mixing.
Kind of. Okay, then check it out.
test? All right, you guys ready for another one?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so let's see here. All right, what color do I have?
Orange.
Orange.
So if you guys have an orange one, go ahead and grab it.
Eat them all. Yeah, she said grab it.
Annotate again so that you guys can follow what I'm doing on the screen here. So orange. All right, so now here's that opaque or translucent. Now you guys, if you're at home, you have one. The easiest way to do this is to hold it up to the light.
That's
You're gonna see if any light is coming through.
Translucent.
Yep, it's translucent.
Okay,
Yeah, they're translucent.
I'm gonna say mine's translucent too.
So Fritz, you got orange.
So,
Mhm.
And then if you're following our key, right, the only other option is that it's light colored because we don't have two different options. It's light colored. So that means it's orange flavor, as in the orange fruit. So orange is pretty self-explanatory.
They eat it now?
Okay, so everyone, if you have an orange one, go ahead and test it. Have orange? Thumbs up? All right, nice job. Okay. I'm gonna grab a blue one next. This is what mine looks like.
Wait, do we have to grab that shade? Because I have 2 different shades.
That's up to you. You can grab the darker one if you want to, and just know that our answer is going to be different.
Can we grab both too?
Sure. If you want to do both, that's fine. Yeah, I can do. I have a dark blue one as well, so I can do.
Depends what
kind of
flavor you want.
here.
I'm gonna use you do one because you only have one.
Here's my 2. Right, I've got a light blue and a dark blue, so I'm going to scroll down to blue. So let me scroll down here. Oop, I gotta get rid of my annotation. Annotate. All right. So I'm going to start at blue. Circle blue. All right. So I've got 2 here. The next question is opaque and translucent. So those of you who have the light blue, tell me if it's opaque or translucent.
Translucent.
Translucent, right? I'm gonna test it with my light. It's definitely, I can definitely see the light coming through it. Good. So the light blue is translucent. And then there's only 2 options for blue, right? So the translucent one, the light blue, is or should be blue ice. I'm really bad at
Wait.
doing lines.
How do you know what blue ice tastes like?
That's a great question. I don't know. I'm not sure. But the other
blue ice, like Slurpee.
okay. But and the other one is blueberry. So I feel like blueberry would be the one that would be easier to know whether or not you're correct, right? So this one, the dark one, it's opaque. Light is not going through it, so it must be blueberry. So go ahead and test your blue ones, guys, and let me know if you think it was right.
I have a transparent.
Blueberry is definitely
Blue ice kind of tastes like a Sour Patch Kid a little bit.
Yeah,
really?
it does. It tastes like a Sour Patch Kid.
What color? The dark blue or the light blue?
The light blue.
Light blue. Okay. Let's see. Anyone who did not have our jelly beans, were you able to, Henley, are you able to, did you have a blue one that you tried?
Yeah.
What flavor do you think it was? Was it one of those or do you think it was different?
I think it was blueberry.
Okay. Anyone else with with non-jelly belly jelly beans have a blue one? Okay. All right. I'm gonna clear my drawing here. Okay. Let's go and do, let's see the greens. If you have our bag, there's 2 different greens, right?
Oh, I only got 1.
Okay, but you might not have both. That's true. So go ahead and grab a green from the bag.
Okay.
I'll start with the light green, so I'm going to start with this one. Okay. So I'm going to start over here at
Mine
green,
is like, I'm guessing it's 7-Up.
and I'm going to hold mine up to the light.
my
Does anyone
gosh,
have this one? Is it translucent or is it opaque?
Mine's translucent.
Yeah, mine's translucent.
Mine's
opaque.
Okay, so if you have a light one, it'll be translucent. If it's darker, it might be opaque. So I'm going to go with translucent for mine. Circle translucent. All right, this one's tough. Is it dark, medium, or light? This one's a hard one.
Medium.
Is it light?
You have medium, I have light. Medium.
I do light for mine, but I'm actually not positive. That's Becky or Nick if you think you know.
I think it would be medium.
Yeah, I'm going with medium for mine.
Me too.
Medium?
Mine is light.
All right. I'll go with medium. I heard a lot of mediums. You guys
Wait, can we try it now?
Yep, go ahead and try it. So if it's medium, it would be Sunkissed Lime.
Yes, I got that.
Oh yeah, it is medium.
Is it?
Green apple.
It is definitely not 7-Up.
Me 7-Up.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
pretty
do my second one
limey
now.
to me. I think.
Ew, I don't like them.
Okay. And we have this dark green one. How many of you guys have this one?
I
have one of those.
Have this one? All right, so obviously this is still green, right?
Mhm.
So let me clear my on here. All right. So still green, but this one, is it opaque or is it translucent?
Okay.
This is opaque, right? Light's
Kind
not
of
going
both.
through it. And it's dark,
Mhm.
right? So what flavor is it?
Watermelon.
Theoretically watermelon. So let's give it a test.
Oh, I was looking at light.
I only had opaque, and it was not watermelon.
What was yours, do you think, Henley? What was it?
Mine tasted
like
a Skittle.
Oh, okay, lime. Yeah, mine was definitely watermelon. That's a pretty distinctive flavor. All right, got a few more left here. How we all doing? We still enjoying eating jelly beans?
Yep.
Yep.
Good.
Just
How could
checking
you
in.
not enjoy eating?
I won't force you to eat jelly beans anymore if you don't want to.
I want to eat jelly beans.
All right, so
I
let's
like jelly
do.
I don't even know.
You guys have a white one?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do white. Now, is your white translucent or opaque?
It is opaque.
So opaque is no light, translucent is light. I'm looking at mine. Mine is opaque, I'm pretty sure. Not saying light.
Cream soda. Okay, cream soda.
So if it's opaque,
Let me see your white.
does yours have spots or no spots? This one's gonna be hard to see.
Mine has spots.
Mine
Mine
has
has spots.
Yours has spots. Mine also has spots. If you look really close, they're not super obvious.
They look like super.
So what flavor should this be according to our
Vanilla
team?
bean.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and test it.
Mine's actually vanilla.
Oh yeah, that's vanilla.
Vanilla bean. Yeah. Definitely vanilla bean. Awesome.
Yeah, vanilla bean.
All right.
Yeah, that is so good.
You guys have a brown one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and grab brown. All right. Opaque or translucent?
Opaque.
Okay.
Yep, definitely opaque. And dark or spots?
Dark.
Definitely dark. So what flavor should it be?
Dr. Pepper.
Yep, Dr. Pepper, right?
I don't know if this is going to taste good or not.
You'll love it. Ellie.
Definitely not.
Oh yeah, that's actually really good.
Fun fact, Dr. Pepper was my favorite soda.
Thank you.
So I like that one.
So good. Mine tastes exactly like Dr. Pepper.
Mine does too.
Yeah, mine tastes just like Dr. Pepper.
I'm pleasantly surprised about it.
Yeah.
It tastes more like licorice or something.
Okay, I've got two more left. I've got another pink one. So if you guys have another pink one, go ahead and grab that. If it's different than the one you bring in.
I have red, blue, and like a light yellow with yellow spots.
Okay.
Okay.
If you don't have mine, that's okay. You can go ahead and just pick another one and go.
Do your yellow. Oh.
So I'll walk through this one. Guys. So this is red, right? So we're gonna start with red, but it's actually pink. Does it have spots?
No.
Yes.
Yours does.
Mine
They're
does
very
not.
hard to see, but yes.
Okay, mine doesn't. Yours
See,
might.
this one doesn't.
So mine, according to my key, should be bubble gum. You guys have this one. That's it.
Yeah. I have bubble
I'm
gum.
pretty sure it goes to no spots.
Mine's
bubble gum. The white one? Shall we do the white one with all the... Dang it, I was wrong. It was strawberry cheesecake.
Oh, was it?
Which one is it?
Did anyone else get a different one other than me?
That actually tastes really good.
I don't like that.
Strawberry.
You don't like the
I
bubble
got
gum?
strawberry.
Put it down.
It's strawberry
it doesn't
cheesecake. Do you have one? Did you have a pink one?
Definitely bubble gum.
Definitely bubble gum.
You have a yellow one.
All right, so the last one I have that I'm going to go through with you guys is yellow. If you have others, feel free again to review them on your own.
Mine's kind of like a light yellow.
Okay, so yours is probably different than mine. All right, so mine is yellow. Hold on, where's my yellow? There it is. Okay. Is this translucent or opaque, do you think?
Yours is translucent. Mine's opaque.
Yeah.
I think
Wait,
mine
Fritz, let me see yours.
translucent.
Mine is translucent.
Mine's
Okay.
translucent.
So translucent. Is this dark or light?
Ours are pretty light. Oh, yours are dark spots. Mine are light spots. Mine?
What do you think, Henry?
No,
Do you think
I got
mine is
buttered
dark or
pop.
light?
Maybe light.
Light.
Light. Eliane, what do you think? Dark or light?
I think the dark.
Dark.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a tough one. It's hard when you don't have something to compare it to, right?
I think it's light.
You think it's light?
So what
Okay,
is this?
I'll go with light. So if
Lemon.
it's light, that would make it crushed pineapple, right?
This is not lemon.
If it's dark, it would be lemon.
Pineapple,
This
coconut.
one. Oh, yours looks pretty light, Elian. Maybe yours is crushed pineapple and mine's lemon.
I got buttered popcorn.
Do you? Mine has mine out.
Can you give me a napkin?
Pretty sure mine's lemon. So I think that was a dark one.
bad.
Pineapple?
Elian,
my-
was yours pineapple?
She got lemon.
Okay, lemon too. Okay.
I'm so happy.
Lemon
got
too.
pineapple.
Mine was crushed pineapple.
Okay, buttered
pineapple?
popcorn is so bad.
You don't like the buttered popcorn? That doesn't sound very good in jelly bean form. Okay, so if you guys have other jelly beans, feel free to try and use this key to go through it and see if you can figure it out. I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint really quick. We're almost done. But I want to relate this. Obviously, it's super fun to eat jelly beans, right, and to identify them. But like I mentioned earlier, the reason why we do this activity is usually to jump off our rock unit, right, and start talking about rocks and rock ID. So share my screen and go back to my PowerPoint here. All right, let me go back to sharing this. Okay, so now can we use autonomous keys to identify rocks, do you think?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and in fact, geologists, scientists who study rocks, they definitely use dichotomous keys to identify rocks, right? So with rocks, you know how with the jelly beans, we said we can't use size or shape to identify because they're all the same size and shape? What about rocks? Do you think you can use size and shape to help you identify rocks?
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Mhm. One thing you can't use is taste.
That's, yeah, for the most part, you probably don't want to taste the rock, though sometimes that could help depending on what it is, right? But here's the thing with size and shape with rocks. Like, does every kind of rock that's the same kind of rock, will it always be the exact same shape and size?
No.
No, right? Because rocks, they're formed by like breaking off of the earth, right? So you can't necessarily find, if you have a piece of granite rock, for example, you can't say that all granite rocks are going to be that exact shape and that exact size. They're going to come in different shapes and sizes. So actually, shape and size is not the best way to know rocks, but you can still use dichotomous keys to do it, right? If you look at this one, this is kind of a really easy one that you could go through, and it shows you, again, it's still two choices, right? It just looks a little bit different than the ones we've been looking at.
So do we just pick one?
Yeah, you could just pick one, and you could do it to with yourself if you'd like, and see if, or if you're with someone, and see if you can get the right answer.
Where's step 3? Oh.
So, yeah, it should be 4 steps.
What are bands?
Bands are like, so B, do you see B? How there's
Yeah.
like bands across, so that's a band.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, I got granite.
For which one?
Conglomerate.
Conglomerate.
Yeah, I picked E.
You picked E, okay. Did anyone do A?
A is obsidian.
You think it's obsidian?
Alright.
Okay, so is it black or not black?
Oh, it does not have a glassy texture, so.
Not black.
It's slate.
So you go to step
Slate.
3. It does not
I
have.
think D is obsidian.
Yeah.
Yeah, D is probably obsidian.
E is obsidian. Good.
Wait, so this one has stuff.
So E, what did we say E was? Conglomerate. D is obsidian. Did anyone do C?
That's granite.
Granite. What about B?
And then B is like Genesis.
Right?
Genesis.
Actually, how do you say that, Becky? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Isn't that nice?
I figured the G was silent.
Nice.
Yeah.
The G, silent G. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
the one that has bands is nice. It's a nice.
Nice. It's a nice rock.
So this is a really simple rock ID, right? It can get a lot more complicated, so we won't go through this one. I just wanted to show you guys that, it can get, there's more than 4 types of rocks, obviously. So this kind of shows you how you can go about identifying a lot of different types of rocks. Now, you notice though, even though it's like a big poster, at every single box, you still basically only have, for the most part, 2 choices, right? So you can start in the middle. You start with, does it have crystals or no crystals? And then if it's crystals, you're gonna go with banded or not banded, right? Some of them, there's 3 choices, not 2 choices, but for the most part, it's still following that kind of tool of a dichotomous key to help you get to your correct rock, okay? So that's how geologists go about identifying our rocks. All right, does anyone have any questions for me? Any questions about economist keys or rocks?
Your breath was bad. Go away.
Oh, I have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have like this really weird rock, and when it was talking about like on those guides like this, it has like random dots on it. How do you, where would you do that?
Are you asking how you would identify it?
Mhm.
Well, you'd have to find a kind of a more, not the key we were just looking at, but you'd probably want something that's a little bit more, that has more options to it, right? And you would try and follow through, you know, you'd answer all those questions and you'd follow through. So if you Google like rock dichotomous key, you might be able to find something and see if you can go through and figure out which rock it is. And actually I wanted to share with you guys, I'm gonna post a link here in the chat window. If you guys are really interested in rocks and minerals, this is kind of a cool website I found today. It gives you more, I did it privately to Becky, to everyone. There we go. Okay, so you guys, if you want to find out more about rocks and how they're formed and the different kinds of rocks, that's a really cool website you can go to, and it tells you all about that kind of stuff. But other than that, I don't want to make this too long today. So if you guys don't have any other questions for me, we'll wrap up. And like Nick said in the beginning, if you weren't here for that, tomorrow we're going to be doing Mina cookies. We're kind of continuing the rock and mineral stuff, right? And so for that, you need obviously a cookie and hopefully toothpicks and maybe like forks or knives. Those are more optional, but toothpick would be good. And then if you don't have a cookie, if you can come up with anything that you can stuff things inside, like Play-Doh and beads or something, you could do it with that. It doesn't have to be a cookie, but the idea is that we're gonna go mining for the chocolate chips. So anything that you guys can find in your house that you could participate. And if you don't have it, that's okay. You could still tune in, just like all of our other lessons, kind of follow along with Nick as he does. Does that sound good?
Yep.
What are the 3 things we need for tomorrow?
Toothpick, cookie, and icing sprinkles.
Okay, yeah, you're right. 4 things, right? Cookie, frosting, sprinkles are not necessary, but a toothpick would be good too.
All right, awesome.
Can you send that link again that you sent in the very beginning? That it's like you fill out a form.
The sign up link? Yeah, let me see if I still got it. Yep. All right, so if everybody, again, I'm going to send out the sign up link. If you guys could